Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing the movie Elysium, made in 2013, starring Matt Damon. And we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston, and Jeff Michael. Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. I just want to remind everybody that we do have a Facebook page, and please drop us a line and tell us what you think about the show, or is there a movie you want us to review?
Please, we're running out of ideas.
And
yeah, right.
Who has the description for this movie?
I got it. Elysium 2013, set in the year 2154, where the very wealthy live on a man-made space station while the rest of the population resides on a ruined Earth. A man takes on a mission that could bring equality to the polarized world.
Okay, I want to go first.
Okay.
Here's my question. How come everybody on Earth spoke Spanish?
Because we got taken over by Mexicans.
Because if you notice, there was no Spanish speakers in Elysium. They all spoke French and other, languages, and then boom, Spanish everywhere else on Earth.
Because
I think
Spanish
it was
is
just the most poignant kind of, or the best ghetto that they could represent was that kind of
the Mexican ghetto.
The Mexican ghetto.
Well, I think it was meant to show the separation between the two. Like,
yeah, it was all political and really.
Well, that's racist.
So South Central just expanded. Is that what they're saying?
I don't know if it's racist or just a reflection of our society.
And it might have even just taken. He might have just even been born in Mexico at the time.
I think he was.
Because that's Los Angeles, though. I mean, where he was.
Oh,
in,
yeah,
right?
it was Los Angeles.
Yeah. But
it's like that already. What are we even talking about?
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, he got taken to a nunnery, so, I mean.
True. And the thing about this, I thought about this movie, is the fact that it had, maybe it's just because Matt Damon's in it, it had kind of a Bourne series action movie feel. I mean, it didn't have the spy and thriller aspect of it, but it kind of had the drawn out, already seen action movie part.
I think you're just thinking of that because you're looking at Matt Damon.
I think that's what it is.
Well,
yeah, I didn't
I'm
get
watching
that
this
sense.
thing from the opening scene. I'm like, oh, this is District 9.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
too.
thought. Yeah, even the camera, the way the whole camera.
Yeah,
I mean,
all the
everything.
cinematography was the same, and it was fucking awesome.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought it was like District 9 feel.
Yeah.
Exotic, except not in South Africa.
Yeah. Well, I kind of did look South Africa with the shanty town.
The set looked the same as
kind of shanty town-ish.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because of all Bourne, all the Matt Damon movies have the same action feel. Maybe it's just the movies.
Or maybe they all somehow take place in a favela somewhere. Somewhere in the movie, there's some kind of favela type.
The thing I did think was interesting was the statement far as how workers are a dime a dozen. So when that one pallet in that radiation chamber like locked up the room, the guy's just like, I don't care, fix it.
Yeah.
That was the part I thought that was probably the most telling of it, is the fact he's like, I don't care who you are,
Yeah, just get in there and get it done.
He's looking up at his boss in the window saying, like, look, dude, I answer to this asshole up here, you know what I mean? Like, you do it or I'll find somebody who will.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually kind of cool, because that also goes along with the rest of the Earth environment. It's all broken down, nothing works, tons of people.
You can tell that the Elysium people, they're basically just the consumers, and then all the workers and everything, they're still down here, overpopulated and going through hell.
And by the way, if you think cops suck in real life, cops in this movie suck.
Especially parole officers, man. Stop talking.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to take that cop serious, because he looks like one of the guys from the game Fallout 3.
Yeah. He did kind of look like that.
There is an elevation. Do you want a pill? No pill. By the way, do you see the warning on that pill box? May cause
death and anal bleeding.
But I mean, that's the kind of those. I mean, it's the kind of thing that apparently Neill Blomkamp is in love with, this type of
dystopian future,
socialist kind of commentary that he loves to kind of beat people over the head with.
God, because even the cops phone at home in this movie.
But yeah, I mean, just showing the dehumanization of the people by just taking these jobs that nobody is gonna do. You know what I mean? They're not gonna send people from Elysium to come down and be cops. The guy who runs the corporation doesn't even want to be there. He yelled at the guy for breathing on him.
Yeah. But
So,
I love the robots, though. The robots design in this movie were really well done.
Well, I mean, all the visual stuff that he did was really well done.
Do you think, was there any scene in here to you that was, oh yeah, that's obviously CG? I mean, because there's nothing that stood out as, like, you know, overly crappy.
Yeah.
Not really. I think when you get
the
close
Matrix
enough to
jump?
really scrutinize it, it's all real.
Well, what,
Dude, the Matrix jump when Cougar jumped after he had the stuff on there, and he's like, ah.
well, that's because he had
It's like,
that
dude, you
that.
serious?
Well, for me
They
that
slowed
was
down time.
Well, for me that was because that was that was the exoskeleton, and that was kind of the stylistic choice to show how he's doing it. I mean, so that for me that was like,
But that was when you're sitting there like, okay, total Matrix feel CG, just kind of slow down time.
See, that one
bullet
didn't-
time type thing.
that one didn't bother me as much as it would be, you know, if it had bullet time. You know, if he's going zing zing, you know.
Yeah, but it's still pretty annoying.
Yeah,
That really didn't bother me.
I did.
Visually, I have nothing bad to say about this movie.
I did kind of like the fact that they kind of stole the Halo ring type thing, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how they did
James, this is what I was going to bring up, dude. Do you remember back in the day when everybody was teasing a Halo movie?
it. Yeah.
This is the guy that was going to do it.
Oh, that's true. Huh?
Was this before Peter Jackson?
Yeah.
Shit, I
I
don't
think
know.
he
It
was
before
casted
District
before.
9. It was like right before District 9.
Because I think at some point, Peter Jackson was either going to direct it or produce it. That I know Peter Jackson was somehow involved with it. I just don't remember what. That was so long ago.
I think it was around 07, 08, and I think right after that one got completely shut down, he went on to work on District 9. I think he said something like 24 hours later he was
Now, is this the director of District 9?
yeah, Neill Blomkamp.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it was. There was something that I was always wondering about, that the scene where Cougar crashed into Elysium. How did nobody actually notice, or just nobody cared? Because, you know, when the 3 or 4 ships tried to come in there illegally before, they shot it down, but somehow nobody did anything about this ship trying to land in there again.
Because Jodie Foster allowed it.
What, there had to be...
Like, their defenses weren't up, and then obviously the citizens aren't going to be like, intruders!
Yeah.
So it was just part of the... At that point, was she in total control?
Yeah,
she had,
she had like military control.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
okay,
had.
that's why then.
Kind of just didn't tell
Anybody.
basically Congress.
She was the one that shut down
That she was doing
the flight airspace over
Yeah.
Los Angeles. You know.
Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, Los Angeles looked better in this movie than it does now.
So what'd you think of Jodie Foster's role?
Less traffic.
Because I love Jodie Foster, so I actually thought she did, you know,
I
pretty
thought
good
she
job.
did pretty good in this one.
You know what? Okay. I don't know if I should start launching into my stuff yet.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, because I have a lot to say.
That's nice.
Again, visually,
That's
I have
cute.
nothing bad to say about this movie. They really went for the A-list on this movie as far as Matt Damon and Jodie Foster.
That's most of their budget right there.
Yeah.
Much, man. I love that he brought back, I can't pronounce it, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce his name, Sharlto Copley, the guy from District 9 and A-Team, or most recognized.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Guy that played Kruger, who I didn't even recognize until he started talking, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's that guy.
I like that guy, actually.
Now I know why he uses him in everything, because he is that good.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's performance was probably the best in the movie.
I think it was.
The best character, you know, in the movie. But all the other characters, like as far as like Matt Damon, the woman, and Jodie Foster, all of that stuff seemed a little short and not that. I mean, that was kind of the stuff that like all the human interest stuff seemed to go out the window with this.
I'll agree on that.
Like all of those performances seemed a little cut short, and this movie could have been longer, I guess is what I'm saying, and really gone into a little more of the detail. They seem to gloss over a lot of the personal parts of it.
I'll agree with that. They definitely the action scenes definitely seemed to take priority over actually learning to hate Jodie Foster's character. They just threw it in there,
Right?
and you were expected to
it
hate
seemed
her right
really
away.
like as far as the plot motivators, sort of cookie cutter. I mean, it's something that we're really used to, you know, like here's these people who don't have something, here's these people who have everything, these people try to get a little something in the beginning, she mercilessly murders everybody, you know, and that's supposed to set it up for, you know, like the end or whatever, as far as her losing, or evil loses, good triumphs.
I don't know.
So, you know, it's really something we've seen a million times, but it was one of the more original, you know, tellings of the story that I think I've seen in a really long time.
So who do you think was the most developed character? Because I actually think it was probably Matt Damon and his girl. I think were the only two characters that were kind of fleshed out.
I mean, kind of is a good way to put it. I mean, like, at best, maybe 50% of really what I kind of wanted to see.
Yeah. No, like why she left. I mean, there was stuff that's like, I think would have been pertinent to the story, but they never really told you anything.
Right. It was like one flashback. I really wanted to see more of Matt Damon, you know, like how he got to where he was. I mean, you know, just a little more. I mean, they seem to jump sort of, you know.
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
Because my whole thought, it was, I wonder if he's the Vin Diesel of 2154, you know?
That's who I felt like should have played this character.
Yeah. You know, I kind of agree with you. I think the fact that Matt Damon's character was just kind of like this nice guy that you kind of start to grow and like early in the film, and
kind of one dimensional
with this backstory that they don't really go into at all, other than he used to rip off cars, and then all of a sudden he's a action hero.
By the way,
sort of I like that they sort of strung the line of action hero a little bit, like, look, I really don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool, but again, really underused somebody like Matt Damon and Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
I also really wanted to see what jail looked like.
Oh, you mean the deportation upside?
Well, because there's a part where he actually says, well, I don't want to go back to jail. Because when that guy says, give me a year, and he's like, I don't want to. How bad is the jail on that planet?
That's kind of what I was curious about, too.
You know,
I mean, was it like the Russian gulag out there that you just kind of get stuck in something out there, and it's just like the guards are like, you just stay in there,
or is it like Escape from New York? I mean, what exactly is it that makes you not really want to go back there?
Yeah,
I'm assuming a lot of robots.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what the guards are going to be, just a bunch of robots. Like, citizen, obey,
right,
or I break your arm.
They're using air quotes on that one.
Anyway,
citizen.
Yeah, I agree with you. The fact that there was lack of character development on pretty much everybody's part. I think the only one that they actually gave you a decent background on was Kruger. To be honest, I mean, they kind of showed him like he was like a rapist, all this stuff, and just really cruel. And they kind of gave you a little bit more than I thought they normally would on a bad guy like that.
Yeah, he was like a better Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't really give it to you. They kind of showed you his personality through the actions he did.
Yeah, and then he's like sitting there and he's like grilling, you know, stirring it with a samurai sword, and then he gets, you know,
he gets kicked out.
Yeah, kicked out.
Decommissioned.
Decommissioned. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, how long did it take you to actually get the whole plot of the movie? I was in like the first 15. It's like, oh, okay, this is gonna happen. Boom, 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 boom.
10 minutes into this thing, right after the flashback, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I loved watching it. I mean, it was one of the more transportive films I've seen in a long time. You know, like, as far as like, I just felt like I'm in this world. Everything looked so, you know, tactile. You know?
I have to admit though, I love the contrast between Elysium and Earth.
Yeah.
I loved, if you looked up in Elysium, it was all white, all very disinfected, very clean, very sterile environment.
Yeah.
And you go to Earth, you know, and it looks absolutely horrible, and I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a lot of the social commentary, you know, like 1%ers suck, you know, but that's whatever.
Yeah, I that was the one part I thought about this movie that you said earlier they did really well, was the visuals in this movie tied in. I actually think the visuals tell a better story than parts of the story.
And that's why, it's easily watchable. Again, just you can pick out the little details.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of thought the ship being able to go up into space was a pretty cool detail. The one that they had, basically the drop ship.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty cool little feature that they had in there. They didn't really tell you anything about the technology very much, even like the healing beds.
Yeah.
They didn't really tell you how that worked, which is not, you don't really expect them to, but the fact
I
that
don't mind at all.
It's like
in time travel movies when they try to explain how time travel works.
Well, it kind of sounded like as long as the brain wasn't damaged,
right,
that they were able to do that, like when he ate the grenade. And they basically reconstructed his face again from what they made it sound like.
By the way, that was a cool effect. I actually thought that was really cool.
I thought there was some really cool effects based off that.
I do have a question, though. When they rebuilt his face, because he had those like hard mounts for something in his face, why didn't they go back into place?
That's what I was curious about, too.
They were destroyed, and that's like an aftermarket implant kind of thing.
That's what I was thinking they must have been, because he had them in his chest and his arms, basically all over his body.
And that's why when his face came back, it was all clean. You know what I mean? It wasn't all filthy like it was. The stuff wasn't there. It was just here's your new face.
Oh, by the way, how'd you like the Bugatti flying car?
Oh,
yeah.
I was trying to. It was actually in the theater. He was the. If you guys don't know, it was the guy who owned the factory.
Yeah.
I guess who built Elysium, and I saw the emblem going, I know that emblem. Why do I know Bugatti?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was the only actual real life trademark I saw. That I don't remember seeing any Coke or Pepsi or anything like you normally see.
Yeah, I don't think there was any of that actually. Because think about it.
Because I was thinking about that, because that would be another telling side of it, was the fact the only people who could afford quote unquote name brands would be the 1%ers, like he was.
But again, I mean, it almost plays more into the world as far as like, look, we created this totally new thing. Nothing in here is something that you recognize. Everything is futuristic. You know what I mean? Like, you really had to recognize that Bugatti symbol, dude.
I'm a car nut, so that's the reason why I noticed it.
Not a lot of people are gonna pick that out,
right?
Yeah. But all in all, I think the movie was could have been better.
Yeah,
to be straight out honest, I think it could have been better. Like you kind of pointed out that there was a lack of character development on the star cast.
Even the action scenes kind of seemed muted because there were scenes.
I think the reason why, and I think Ryan mentioned it, is because of the fact that he was walking this kind of line of, I'm just really a criminal without really trained background. Yeah, which is kind of why I was a little bit pretty much disappointed in the fact that, I mean, out of all the guys that made out there, of course you can't kill Matt Damon in this part, but when they hijack the 1%er guy, I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, but he's able to kill all the robots and evade capture by some elite trained guys.
Yeah, totally. And you're talking about the guy you're talking about is William Fitcher, in his real life name, and his name was John Carlyle.
Yeah, that's it.
And that was the part I thought was weird, because it's like, okay, he's Billy Badass one second, and the next one he's, like Rambo's old gray mother. I mean, it's just, how can you go from one extreme to the other? And it just seemed very weird, kind of a little bit of mismatched in a way to me.
Yeah, there was a couple of those moments that's like, well, why that instead of, Well, another one, when Kruger, when you first see Kruger, when they first activated him and he's got to take out those ships, why the hell does Elysium not have some countermeasures?
That's what I thought too. I thought that was kind of strange.
Fire a missile from there. You have to get a guy on the ground,
and those had to be fast missiles
to track something in space. Seriously.
And by the way, the second one is, why in a van? I mean, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you'd think somebody would find it.
Yeah, and I like the fact he didn't close the van up after he's done.
The van, and then he's got to get the thing, and then he's got to make sure he can lock onto it, and you can't just. I don't know. That seemed like well, that's unnecessary.
That's exactly what I thought.
You activate a guy on Earth to take care of something in space
that you have 12 minutes to destroy.
You're in space. Fucking handle it yourself.
And it's a rotating space platform. You'd think they'd have some sort of laser guided, something.
Yeah. You know what I mean? She's in charge of the missile, and she just said, just leave all that shit on Earth. We're never going to need it up
here.
They
have walking, talking robots. You'd think they have some sort of flying robot Superman up there knocking things out.
I know. Send some Cylon ships out to go destroy it.
Fighter pilots, you know what I'm saying, right?
Anyway.
I mean, it just that scene was a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I did, however, I loved the exosuit scene when his comment was, "Is this gonna hurt?" The guy's like, "Yeah, a little."
That's the part that really like turned it for me, was their little, we're gonna put this robot suit on him kind of thing. First of all, they're drilling into his nervous system, right? So this thing's set into his nervous system. Not to mention the fact that the dude can be picked up by a robot and thrown through whatever, and, you know, like even hit with a samurai sword on this thing. And I'm sorry, if that was drilled into your bones, that would hurt like hell.
Yeah.
You know, every time you get hit or even pulled, it'd be like, oh God.
Well, the other thing that bothered me about that whole part was his recovery time.
That was the part
He had
that I thought was
5
ridiculous.
days before he died. If you get drilled like that, you're not recovering it in a day.
See,
Hell
it was
no.
that was
No,
that
like
was
I could go ahead and assume that it might have been some kind of, you know, like really good drug that they, you know, like was attached to his nervous system.
That's
yada,
what I
yada,
kind of
yada.
thought when they were
But as
giving
far
him
as
the drugs.
what Jeff just said, if you want to know what he's talking about, take an aluminum baseball bat, walk outside, and hit a metal pole.
Right?
Yeah.
see the only thing
As
I
hard
could-
as you can.
The only thing I was thinking of is the reason for the exosuit made sense in the story, because that was the only reason he was actually upright most of the time.
The only way
because
to
his
fight robots.
because his
Yeah.
body physically couldn't stand because of the radiation. The healing time was the one that got me. So this guy has bolts in his body, and 2 days later or whatever, he's
I think it was like
fine.
a day.
See, that was the one part that was like, this is ridiculous. But everything
yeah, he woke
else,
up like, wow, this shit's cool.
Yeah.
because my only reason thought where he didn't feel any hits, there had to be some sort of like anti-shock thing built in.
That's what I kind of thought too, but and then, you know, I mean, obviously this suit is really tough, and
Which,
then all
by
of
the
a
way,
sudden
it's
he,
hydraulic. Seriously,
Yeah. When
he gets-
hydraulic.
That's
when he
the
gets
one thing
Kruger attached to him,
Wait,
and he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna break this strap now."
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Hydro fluid running all over the place.
That was the part that was like, seriously, that's the high-tech thing.
That would make it more of a pain in the ass to move your arms, if anything. The fact that it's like
Seriously.
hydraulic, you're like, really? 3 minutes ago I wanted to put this in my mouth, but I'm having to wait.
but it's space age hydraulics. 12154 when they're a tad bit faster.
This,
And I
you-
mean, I like that it took him a little time to get used to it, and he wasn't really aware of like what it can do, and he's still kind of bumbly in it a little bit until sort of towards the end. But then once he starts getting whipped through walls and bounced off of shit, like he's got a lot of exposed skin in between the stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, he was taking a little more damage than I figured they should have.
What, when he got shanked
that
in
and like
the
with the
gut?
pressure, it would have like ripped out of his skin or something. You know what I mean? It
they're
would-
just seriously.
I did, however, like how they killed Kruger. I thought that was entertaining, and my first thought when I saw that is, what took you so long to...
Well, no, about halfway through the movie, that's all I'm just like, oh, I just want to see this fight, man. Like I'm waiting for this little battle at the end.
By the way, I love that chemrail rifle. That was cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so okay, here's a question, Ryan. What do you give? What is your rating for this movie?
That's it, man. I was thinking about this too because I'd give District 9 a 5 all day long because that movie was amazing. This one, I'm bouncing back between a 3 and a 4 because there were those little things, but then visually it kicked so much ass. I'm gonna give it a 4 just because I want to see more stuff like this. You know what I mean? Like everybody start doing movies that look like this. You know?
And
I think that's the problem, though. Everybody is doing movies that look like that.
No,
there was
not
no.
quite, though.
I got
You
Jeff.
know.
I got Jeff's back on that one.
There was no. I mean, the story was kind of blah. There was no like. I just feel like I'm watching the same damn movie every time I go to the theaters when it comes to sci-fi. I think they
But
need to-
isn't this one of those types of movies you could watch once every 3 or 4
No.
years? Like, oh, give me one of these every 4 or 5 years.
No, like Riddick when that first came out, like Pitch Black and all that.
Right.
I thought, you know what, they should probably have done a lot more with this series, and now they're finally coming out with like Riddick and stuff like that. But this movie, it was. I don't
so,
know.
what do you give it? I mean, put your what would your rating be if you're gonna?
My jump. Well, that's my problem is I don't know if a 2 is too harsh or a 3. I'd say a 3 just because it. There was no. I don't know. There was nothing really to keep me there in this movie. It was just kind of cliche sci-fi robo battling BS.
No, it's better than Real Steel. What about?
Did not watch that one.
I thought Pacific Rim was a lot more of the BS story. I mean, almost ultra campy, but looked amazing. This one actually had a little
It had
more
kaiju, so
more substance to it.
Well, now
about-
here's
wait,
the
wait,
thing:
wait, what
the
about
way
you,
it
James?
looked, real quick, the way it looked. Yeah, of course it was great. Look who you got, making the film, and look how much money they had backing it. If you put a good storyline and then backed it with that, it would be an amazing movie.
Well, yeah, like not such a thin storyline.
So what about you, James?
I'm actually in the boat with Jeff. I think that they, screwed the pooch on the story. Visually, I'm going to give it to Ryan on the fact that they did really well visually. They had really good actors that they misused, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, as far as what they were given and
Underused.
what they had, they worked with it really well. I think Matt Damon was underused. I think Jodie Foster was underused. So it's
Jodie Foster's was almost borderlining, like, I don't know, stupid.
yeah.
It was
I
just
kind of agree with you there. And as far as I'm concerned, I think 2's too harsh. So yeah, definitely a 3. But
See,
yeah,
I
underused.
I give it a 3 to 5 for kind of similar reasons. I think what they need to do is make this a longer movie because they had scenes that they could have fully fleshed out. Like
Right.
Jodie Foster's character, like her impetus for wanting to be the soul in charge. There was that scene in the privacy room. There's a lot of things they could have fleshed out this movie that made it a more dramatic science fiction movie.
Yeah.
I do think that I love science fiction, so I think this is the first movie in a while that actually made me think, okay, maybe there's hope for science fiction movies, because at least it was interesting, unlike fucking Prometheus.
yeah.
See, I got more out of Prometheus than I did out of this. I thought Prometheus was actually more entertaining to watch than this was, and it had a worse storyline. It wasn't the worst movie in the world. It was. I don't know.
I like.
He thinks it's the worst.
He doesn't like a lot of things that doesn't make sense. Like the last show, he was like, "Oh, Chris Farley has no, or not Chris Farley, but what's his face? Will
Chris Farley's
Ferrell.
dead.
Will Ferrell's he's no talent and blah 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 blah."
Well,
and I'm
James,
just like,
but James will agree with me.
everybody disagrees with you on that. John.
Actually, James doesn't.
I think
No, because there's movies that he's seen
He's
with
true.
Will Ferrell in it that he enjoys.
Yeah,
he
but
doesn't
he's-
become a
he's got-
total
yeah,
like.
Everybody hates
Will
Elmar,
Ferrell
and that's
Nazi.
fine.
He's still a no talent ass client who has to
He's
have roles
not.
specifically wrote for him, or else he's not good in them.
No,
No,
this
that's
is
not true
coming
either.
from someone
Okay,
who's
how did
also
you do that?
said this, but yet has not seen all of his films, so cannot make that
I can't
judgment.
stand him. Period. So there's no
Okay,
chance
but
I'm
just
going to
say
see
you
it.
don't like the
Yeah.
look of his face, and then call it a day.
Yeah.
I don't. See, I just don't think he can act. I don't.
You're like, I will rise from the grave to make sure his soul is,
I just.
soul is burned
right?
in hell.
Seriously, it's like Jesus.
I
Did
will
he touch you
spawn
as a
you.
Okay,
child?
okay. Since you're going to attack the reason, let me tell you the reason I don't like him. Is
Were you
I
touched
think,
as a child, John?
I'm going to mute all of you bastards so I can get my point out.
Meow meow.
Right? Calm down. I think
Somebody
he was
get his
touched.
hands.
I think
See,
he
the
was
reason.
touched.
So the reason I don't like him is I don't like modern comedy. It's not funny, and he only
Oh,
does a lot of modern
Right?
comedies.
Modern comedy is not funny.
Modern
Okay,
comedy,
okay.
if you want to get into it, modern comedy is the lowest common denominator. You don't have anything like Marx Brothers or anyone that actually semi-intelligent humor. Instead, you get Ricky Bobby.
Fucking
Really?
Grandpa Charney. You got to be
Right?
shitting me.
See, this is my biggest thing. I think
Charlie moment.
it's Charlie was touched at a young
Charlie-
age by a
Charlie-
very bad
Charlie?
movie man. I think.
Charlie. I kind of screwed up your last name. Sorry. That was my
Charlie, I'm like,
fault.
what the fuck?
Charlie.
Charlie?
Hey, Charlie, take it.
Charlie took it from the
Yes,
chocolate
here's
factory. That's
thing.
the problem.
If you don't know me, I hate comedies.
I
Always
but
have.
Then to take all
Jeff's
your
alive.
Sorry, I had to come back somewhere.
What did you say, Ryan?
I said to take all your vitriol out on a specific person, like you're personifying.
No,
Mark.
I just don't like his comedies. Same thing with most of Jim Carrey's movies. I just don't like that
well,
comedies.
go look at some of his stuff that he's not in doing a comedic role. What's it called?
Eternal Sunshine.
What's it
Truman.
called?
He's
Truman
talking
Show.
about
Sunshine of the
on Jim
Spotless
Carrey.
Mind.
No, not Jim Carrey.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell.
Shit. Stranger Than Fiction.
Stranger Than Fiction was great.
Okay.
It was a great movie, and he did a great job in that movie, and not trying to be funny.
All right. Well, anyway, okay. Movie news.
I agree with you, Ryan.
Well, unfortunately, we're running really, really late. So, unfortunately, this week we do not have time
Okay,
for
that's
movie
fine.
news. So, you're going to have to stay close to next week. And remember to take a look at our Facebook page because we do post stories and stuff throughout the week. Next week we agreed on dramas.
Yeah.
So we're doing dramas. So I'm gonna pick. It's a crap. I wasn't really prepared for this.
Train Spotting.
Big
Once-
Fish.
Those were
I
actually
thought
the two
that's
we
what
talked
were
about
doing,
before the
right?
show.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know why the pause. I figured it was Train Spotting.
Well, no, 'cause
that's-
it's my pick.
Yeah, it's
This
this
week.
week, I guess.
What's your pick this week?
That's what we're trying to figure out. He
The
forgot.
movie. Well, here's the.
I thought we
don't.
were doing Train Spotting.
No,
I don't know.
that's your pick.
We're
I'm not doing it. Your pick.
deuces.
What? We all just sat down and you were like, "Yeah, Train Spotting's good. We'll do drama this week." And now you're like,
we were doing because that was your pick.
Okay.
That's not pick. See, the movie I'm gonna pick is a movie made in the 1950s called Run Silent, Run Deep.
Wow.
I thought it was my turn.
No,
You're taking my turn.
Right? He is. He totally is. He's like, no, we will not do that anymore. We are now doing my pick. Haha, F you.
sorry. The cycle starts over. That's the way it goes.
It's no cycle.
You can't get
Right? Exactly. He's like, haha, fuck you. You want to see movie? You go fuck self.
So I guess I'm picking Run Silent, Run Deep, made in 1958, starring
All right.
Clark Gable, Burt Lancaster, Jack Warden, Don Rickles. So this actually has a pretty good cast.
I have not seen a Don Rickles movie in a long time.
So this was 1958.
Good times.
And so the movie we did this week was Elysium. I gave it a 3. James gave it a 3. Ryan gave it a 3. Jeff gave it a 3. We'll see you next week.